We're the immigrants who stowed away on ships to reach these shores. The huddled masses yearning to breathe free, Holocaust survivors, Soviet defectors, the lost boys of Sudan. We're the hopeful strivers who cross the Rio Grande because we want our kids to know a better life. That's how we came to be. We're the slaves who built the White House and the economy of the South. We're the ranch hands and cowboys who opened up the West, and countless laborers who laid rail. And raised skyscrapers, and organized for workers' rights. We're the fresh-faced GIs who fought to liberate a continent. And we're the Tuskegee Airmen, and the Navajo Code Talkers. And the Japanese Americans who fought for this country even as their own liberty had been denied. We're the firefighters who rushed into those buildings on September 11th. The volunteers who signed up to fight in Afghanistan and Iraq. We're the gay Americans whose blood ran in the streets of San Francisco and New York. Just as blood ran down this bridge. We are storytellers, writers, poets, artists who abhor unfairness, and despise hypocrisy. And give voice to the voiceless, and tell truths that need to be told. We're the inventors of gospel and jazz and blues, bluegrass and country, and hip-hop and rock and roll. And our very own sound with all the sweet sorrow and reckless joy of freedom. We are Jackie Robinson, enduring scorn and spiked cleats and pitches coming straight to his head. And stealing home in the World Series anyway. We are the people Langston Hughes wrote of who build our temples for tomorrow, strong as we know how. We are the people Emerson wrote of, who for truth and honor's sake stand fast and suffer long. Who are never tired, so long as we can see far enough. That's what America is. Not stock photos or airbrushed history, or feeble attempts to define some of us as more American than others. We respect the past, but we don't pine for the past. We don't fear the future. We grab for it. America is not some fragile thing. We are large, in the words of Whitman, containing multitudes. We are boisterous and diverse and full of energy, perpetually young in spirit. That's why someone like John Lewis at the ripe old age of 25 could lead a mighty march. And that's what the young people here today and listening all across the country must take away from this day. You are America. Unconstrained by habit and convention. Unencumbered by what is, because you're ready to seize what ought to be. For everywhere in this country, there are first steps to be taken. There's new ground to cover, there are more bridges to be crossed. And it is you, the young and fearless at heart. The most diverse and educated generation in our history, who the nation is waiting to follow. Because Selma shows us that America is not the project of any one person. Because the single most powerful word in our democracy is the word we. We the people. We shall overcome. Yes, we can. That word is owned by no one. It belongs to everyone. Oh. What a glorious task we are given, to continually try to improve this great nation of ours. "50 years from Bloody Sunday, our march is not yet finished, but we're getting closer. "239 years after this nation's founding, our union is not yet perfect. But we are getting closer. Our job's easier because somebody already got us through that first mile. Somebody already got us over that bridge. When it feels the road is too hard, when the torch we've been passed feels too heavy. We will remember these early travelers, and draw strength from their example, and hold firmly the words of the prophet Isaiah. Those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not be faint. Point 3. We honor those who walk so we could run. We must run so our children soar. And we will not grow weary. For we believe in the power of an awesome God. And we believe in this country's sacred promise. May He bless those warriors of justice no longer with us, and bless the United States of America. Thank you, everybody. One from a hymn entitled God Will Take Care of You, with lyrics by Civila D. Martin and music by W. Stillman Martin. It is the third entry in the 1906 hymnal songs. Of Redemption and Praise, compiled by John A. Davis and John Ralston Clements. Sheet. Music for this hymn has been digitized by and publicly preserved at Internet Archive. Two, Edmund Pettus Bridge Wikipedia entry, The Edmund Pettus Bridge is a bridge that carries you. Route 80, across the Alabama River in Selma, Alabama. Built in 1940, it is named for Edmund Winston Pettus, a former Confederate brigadier general. Democratic Party U.S. Senator from Alabama and Grand Dragon of the Alabama Ku Klux Klan, the Edmund Pettus Bridge. Was the site of the conflict of Bloody Sunday on March 7, 1965, when armed policemen attacked peaceful civil rights demonstrators who were attempting to march to the Alabama state capital of Montgomery. The bridge was declared a National Historic Landmark on March 11, 2013. Truncated from original, retrieved and posted March 12, 2015. Three Isaiah 40:31. Barack Obama. Senate floor speech on the passing of Coretta Scott King. Delivered January 31, 2006, Washington, D. C. And edited for continuity. Thank you very much, Mr. President. Today, we mourn the passing of Coretta Scott King. And when I think about Coretta Scott King, I think about the little girl who walked. "5 miles to school on those rural Alabama roads and felt the heat of racism. Each day she passed the door of the whites-only school, so much closer to home. It didn't matter, because she studied and succeeded and excelled beyond most of her classmates, black and white. She earned a college degree, and an acceptance to a prestigious graduate school up north. And one day she met a young preacher from Atlanta, and she fell in love with him. And he told her his dreams, and she believed in those dreams. And she decided that she would. Help to make them real, not just as a wife or as a friend, but as a partner in freedom's cause. Over the next years, Coretta Scott King did that in so many ways we can't even imagine. She raised a family, she marched through the streets, she inspired through song. She led through speech, even dodged the countless attempts on her family's life. And when one of those attempts finally took her love from this world, she made the selfless decision to carry on. With no time to even cry or mourn, to wallow in anger or vengeance. Coretta Scott King took to the streets just 4 days after the assassination and led 50. Through the streets of Memphis in a march for the kind of justice that her husband had given his life for. She spent the rest of her marching for that same justice, leading the King Center for Nonviolent Social Change in Atlanta. And spreading her family's message of hope to every corner of this world. You know, I had the great honor of knowing Mrs. King, and the occasion to visit with her in Atlanta last year. She was an extraordinarily gracious woman. We sat and chatted in her living room. She showed me an album of photographs of her and Dr. King and the children. And then she told me what her husband had said to her once, at a time when she was feeling burdened. Understandably, by all the stress and strain that had been placed on the family as a consequence of his role in the civil rights movement. She said her husband suggested that when you are willing to make sacrifices for a great cause, you will never be alone because you will have divine companionship and the support of good people. That was her husband's advice to her, that when you are willing to make sacrifices for a great cause, you will never be alone. Coretta Scott King died in her sleep last night. She certainly was not alone. She was joined by the companionship and support of a loving family. And a grateful nation inspired by her cause, dedicated to her work, and mournful of her passing. My thoughts, condolences today are with her children. And I ask that she and her husband now rest together in eternal peace. Barack Obama. Senate floor speech on comprehensive immigration reform. Delivered May 23, 2007, Washington, D. C. Mr. President. Last year I spoke at one of the marches in Chicago for comprehensive immigration reform. I looked out across the faces of the crowd. I saw mothers and fathers, citizens and non-citizens. People of Polish and Mexican descent, working Americans, and children. And what I know is that these are people we should embrace, not fear. We can and should be able to see ourselves in them.